Hi, everyone. Welcome to Pete's Epic Golf Podcast. Join golfer Pete as he interviews international and local golf experts and enthusiasts. Golfer Pete's guests are looking to share how his audience can improve their golf game by improving their mindset, skill set, and gear set. We ask our experts to share their practical tips on golf in one or more of these three core areas. Golfer Pete created his podcast as a resource for anyone who loves golf. Join Golfer Pete as he asks the questions we all need answers to in order to improve our golf game.
Hey, I want to welcome our viewers to a very special podcast on the Pete's Epic Podcast. We have somebody all the way from Texas via Utah that's going to join us on this program, and we're going to have some fun talking golf, of course. So my name's Golfer Pete, and we have Karl Dollar who's on the podcast. So I'm going to let Karl just introduce himself, a little bit who you are, who you serve, so our viewers can get an idea who they're listening to today.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely.
I've been a golf coach for 8 years now, full time. I've been in the golf industry for 5 years longer than that, but as a management before coaching, and realized that management has its own perks and things, but it's really not my lane. And so I really found my zone when I switched over to becoming a coach full time, and it's been an amazing thing. I'll work with anyone who wants to get better. So that's, if you want to learn, I'll help you. I guess most of the folks who fall into that category are new golfers or kind of the struggling, mid to high handicapper. They've got to a plateau or they got to a point where it's like, if you don't help me, I'm going to quit. And so we help them, and then they don't quit. And that's a win in my game. They end up loving the game. And so, yeah, being a golf coach is fantastic. I really have a wonderful time doing it.
Well, I maybe we share two passions. Well, we share one passion, golf.
Golf, yeah.
You've gone the route of coach, and I've gone the route of podcasting. And I just for a second, just so our viewers maybe that they're listening to this and not the other ones. I had a stroke about a year and a half ago, so I haven't played for 2 years. So I get my golf through podcasting.
Okay.
I get my high, the golfer's high through, just talking about golf. So it's extra special to do that. But I do appreciate, I know what you're saying. You got to find your lane.
Right.
And, I tell you what, there's plenty of things in the golf industry that if you enjoy golf, you can find a lane to.
Absolutely, you can. Yeah.
Time. So tell us Karl, your philosophy of golf. I always like to hear that, and our viewers do too.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, golf is a game, and we play games to have fun and relax. But it seems like very often those two things kind of go in different directions, right? We might start golf because we want to have fun and relax, but we realize it's kind of frustrating. It's kind of hard.
Yep.
And so my philosophy is let's get back to a way for you to have fun and enjoy the game as quickly as we can, right? So technology has helped a lot in being able to do that. So I employ all the technology that I can to help my students, whether that's ball flight data that we get from launch monitors or body movement data that we get from 3D avatars that we can superimpose over them as they're making moves, or if it's like Arcos data that we get from the game where we can analyze where they're losing strokes and where things aren't working out so good. And then it's a personal program or a personal improvement plan to get better, all based off of their goals. So if you want to improve 5 strokes, we'll improve 5 strokes. If you want to play college golf one day, then we'll get you to play college golf one day. It's all depending on your goals. But we got to get to a point where you're enjoying the game. And so I use technology, we create personal plans, and then it's a matter of falling in love with the process of learning. I think a lot of golfers struggle to get better because they never learn how to love practice. They never learn how to love learning. And so if I can get them to that point, life's good at that moment.
That is so wise and so insightful for the beginners. You really have to enjoy learning. Because golf, I had a person on the podcast and they were sharing with me that so top golf, off course golf, 18 million people in America, and
Yep.
on course, the ones that we play, is 16 million. So there's more playing off course than on course. So I had a gentleman, Ralph Stokes, and he's with the PGA Superstore, and he was telling me, that's true. And it used to be 1% of that would transition to on course. Now it's up to 6%. So
Oh, wow.
that part of the game is growing. But, young people, short attention span, 5 hours on the golf course, maybe a stretch. And
Yep.
the enjoyment of it, nobody likes, playing golf in the woods.
Right.
But so that's the reality of it. You have to be willing to learn that process and understand the difficult nature of golf to enjoy it.
Yep.
So with that point, Karl, what's the one tip that you give your beginners to get that mindset about learning? I mean, I know you said learning, but is there one thing that you can point to for our viewers?
Yeah. So the most important thing that any golfer can learn to do is to control their golf ball. Now, you might think, well, duh, obviously, but that's not what comes to mind first when I talk to students for the first time. When I ask them what they want to learn to do, they don't have a clear picture in mind. They're like, well, I'm tired of doing this, or I don't want to do this. And so they're talking around really what the most important thing is controlling your golf ball. So the tip that I'll have, or kind of the place that I go with my students is, okay, let's go to the point where you have control, and let's start from there and then build. Because if you cannot control your driver, we can get you there, but what club can you control? What are you doing right with the 9-iron or the 8-iron, where we can now build off of something? So we got to go to a point where, all right, you got some information here, and you got some skill or some ability here. Let's look what you're doing, build from that, and then extend it to where you want to go. If we're talking about the process of learning and how to learn, my biggest tip that I'll give you is turn off YouTube, turn off all of the stuff, find one voice that you can follow, and just go with them, because you're going to be so much better off, whether it's the pro at your club, whether it's someone online, whether you're able to go and join one of the world famous golf coaches and being part of their ecosystem. That's awesome. But just find one voice, one source of your information, because that professional is going to be able to funnel everything to what you need. Mm-hmm. Whereas YouTube doesn't do that for you. Right. So when my students tell me they've seen something on YouTube, I always just pause and look at them like, what was it? All right, that doesn't apply to you, so don't do that. But they were trying it on the range, and they come to you for the next lesson like, it's not working. I said, what's not working? Well, I watch this on YouTube and I'm doing this, and like, dude, I'm not the YouTube coach, right? I'm your face-to-face coach. So find that one person that you can kind of latch onto.
That is another wise. It's funny because I had a guest on a couple of weeks ago, and he's a long drive specialist. He has his job, but he competes in long drive. So we were talking about just that very subject, that there's so much out there that he said, find one instructor in long drive that you think you can attach yourself to, because it's just like, I remember years ago, they used to say, the trouble with Golf Digest is every month there's something new.
Right.
And so if you like, okay, let me try this, and it's last month's tip or the month, it'll just confuse the heck out of you.
Right.
You'll be like,
you're not going to
what
get
am I
it.
trying to do? This didn't work for me. Yes, it didn't work for you, because it doesn't work for everybody. And if you don't just zero in on your game and have somebody like yourself that knows your game and can really guide you, hey, you're going to be one confused, frustrated golfer.
Yeah, and I think golfers, when they take lessons or they watch the YouTube 45-second videos, like, all right, I've got this, and they expect that in 45 seconds they can go fix their game.
Yeah,
I don't think many golfers have the context for how much time it takes to change their game.
Yes.
So you might watch, or your coach might give you, a 45-minute lesson, but it might take you 45 days or 45 weeks to do what he's just showing you to do, or what she's giving you as your instruction. And so that's why falling in love with the process is so important, because you got to be patient with it.
Yes.
And you got to show yourself a little kindness, a little grace, because you're going to be frustrated from time to time.
Yep.
And I think that's where a good coach can be a cheerleader. It can be kind of a support system. And so, yeah, definitely find that one person that you can be attached to.
Yeah, that's so good. That our viewers just zero in on that. Man, that's just really great wisdom that needs to be spoken a couple times. I mean, because the trouble with too much information is too much information.
Absolutely.
I mean, our internet has everything. You can go on and look at every YouTube video out there and never see even close to what's out there. And it's going to make you more confused. So I know you mentioned technology. So we always, technology affects everything. What would you say is, when it comes to technology, what have you seen in your experience has been the best technology gadget or thing that you're using to teach your students that's working for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a cool subject to talk about, because even the younger generation, they get into technology, right? They understand it, and it's awesome. So a couple of different parts of the game where technology can help. I'd say one of the most dramatic parts is in club fitting and making sure that your equipment fits you. A lot of my new students, or my struggling students, they don't like the idea of being club fitted very early on, because they think it's all their problem. But it's not always just your problem. Your golf clubs, and using new technology and launch monitor data to identify your optimal spin rates and launch rates and descent angles, it's incredible what you can dial in just by using the fitting technology that's out there. And so if anyone's listening is on the fence about fitting, or even if you're brand new, you never hit a golf ball, at least go make sure that your clubs are the right length for you. And then they'll dial in your right lie angle for you. And a good fitter will even be able to recommend the correct shaft and the correct set makeup for you. So, so I'd say fitting is huge. And then the other one, and this is not a new piece of technology, it's been around for a long time. The company that I worked with before I went on my own here, they've been doing it for 26, 27 years now, but that's measuring how your body moves through space and time, right? So motion measurement is a huge, I think it's a bit of a mystery to most golfers, but being able to understand that from address, if you've moved the center of your shoulders an inch away or towards the target, or an inch down towards the ground or away from the ground, or in some instances maybe 3 or 4 inches, and you're doing something in the motion measurement that is detrimental to what you're doing, you can try a million other things, but you got to fix that first. And technology helps us to identify that very easily. And there's a piece of software out there from the sportsbox.ai people that I use as a coach. And it's just through your mobile phone, and you send a video to myself or your coach, and they can look at your video, and then it superimposes a 3D avatar, or creates a 3D avatar of your swing, and it attaches measurements to it. So how much you're tilting from left to right, or how much you've swayed towards or away from the target, what your forward or backward bend might be, and applying the theory of tour averages, just knowing that better players do this and you're doing this, so we got to kind of nudge you towards this. That's really what helps people understand it. And then it's a visual right away for them, like they can see it, like, oh gosh, yeah, I can see I'm not supposed to have my hips here, they're supposed to be more towards the target if I want to be able to hit the ground in the right spot. So I'd say launch monitors have been huge for many reasons, but for fitting for one, and then this motion measurement stuff is awesome.
Yeah, that's what we'll do is, for our viewers, we'll put links in the show notes.
Cool.
So I think you have to remember everything that Karl's sharing with you, because there's nothing better than talking to a source that's using something and getting results. There's plenty of advertisements for stuff. Find the source you trust, coach, And then when your golf coach is guiding you, because you can get off on a tangent and be trying so many things and wasting a lot of money on stuff.
Right.
Every piece of equipment, I love them. They're trying to get the money out of your wallet and into their wallet, and they're pretty good at it. So
Right.
go to a trusted source. And to
Yep.
your point about what you said about getting fitted, my son-in-law, who's in the Phoenix area, he's young, he's in his 30s. So he actually went and got fitted
Yep.
at the PGA Superstore. And he was thinking he wanted this set of irons.
Absolutely.
They fitted him for another set of irons.
Yep.
And he said he used to hit the ball really high from a wedge standpoint. And then the wind goes, man, your ball is going to blow all over. So they got him to work on, his angles. And so now he hits it lower. His flight plane is much better. He's getting it closer as a result of it. And you're exactly right. He wasn't thinking being fitted, but I told him, get fitted. If I had to do anything over again, I would never buy off the rack.
Never.
Get fitted and make sure that club that you get fitted for is for you, because everybody has different swings and different things. And you better get that right, or you're right. You'll get frustrated and it's like you're liable to quit the game because you got the wrong equipment for you.
Absolutely. And the gains that you get from being fit correctly, I would say that when I was doing club fittings, an average improvement from someone who brought me their current clubs that might have been, 5, 10, 15 years old, they would hit at least 15 yards further with their irons, with better trajectory and better descent angles, and 30 to 40, sometimes 70 yards longer with their driver. And when that happens, golf doesn't suddenly become, conquerable, but it becomes easier. Right. It becomes a lot easier if you can hit a little further. And very often now, with the way that the clubs are made and the weighting and the different things they can do with center of gravity and other cool stuff, you can hit it straighter too. So don't think that you have to wait until you fixed your slice to get fit, because the clubs can help fix your slice as well. So go get it done.
Yeah, that's good. Appreciate that, Karl. So I've had a number of people lately talk about shafts.
Yes.
So what's your thoughts about, the different shafts out there, and how can they benefit our viewers by knowing more about that?
By knowing more about shafts? Yeah, absolutely. And the cool thing is that, again, with all the information overload out there, as the consumer, you don't really have to know too much. You just have to find someone who does. All right. So, and then when you're getting fitted for a shaft, there's two things usually that go into what type of shaft you're going to be able to play. One is going to be your swing speed. So it's typical that someone with a faster swing speed, they're going to have a more robust or a stouter, stiffer shaft, and someone's got a lower swing speed, they're going to have something less stiff. Now, that's usually the default where everyone goes. It's like, oh, I'm a super fast swinger, so I need the stiffest flex you've got. Or I'm not a fast swinger, so I need, super whippy to help me out. But there's an important part of everyone's golf swing that you need to take into consideration when you're getting fit for clubs, or when you think about golf shafts. And that is the rate at which you transition from backswing to downswing. So if you have and this is unfortunately or fortunately in my situation, this is what I do. I have a very abrupt transition from topswing to downswing. And so my shafts tend to be stiffer than what you would think would be for my swing speed. Right. And then on the other hand, I've got some students who have got these long flowing swings, right? And they may think that they're in one type of shaft and they end up being in another. So shafts are a critically important part of your set makeup and what goes into your performance. But don't be hung up on, I swing this fast, and so I need to have this shaft, because it doesn't always work out that way. It might be a bit of a way to guide you, but it's not going to be like the most important part of your fitting is how fast you are. There's other factors that go into that, and shafts can, like you identified with your family member, shafts can help you hit it higher or lower.
Right.
And so you may play a heavier shaft because you need to bring that ball flight down a little bit. And so you might think, I don't swing that fast. Why am I getting a heavier shaft? Well, because it's going to help with the ball flight that you're trying to create. So I tell everyone, when you go for a fitting, go with a very open mind, even though you might have done your own research a little bit, and then trust the process, trust what the fit is doing, because this is what they do all the time. They know what's up. They know what works best. And if they're good at what they're doing, they only really have your best interest at heart. And so if they can fit you well, then you're good.
That's good. That's so awesome. I'll tell you a story to our viewers on that shaft, which you just shared. So it was probably about 10 years ago, and I was thinking about making a change with my irons, and I didn't know what I wanted. I was in Goodwill looking for irons, because sometimes you go in there and they have.
Oh, I found some. Yeah.
Yeah, I found a set of graphite Cobras. So I started hitting it, and I was hitting it great on the pin. I used them for a year and a half until I couldn't handle it. All my buddies, every time I showed up, he said, "Hey, do you have the Goodwill club?" And they were giving me so much crap, I just couldn't handle it anymore, and I had to just put them at my mom's house and say, "I'll just use them up there." But I actually realized, because I'm 66, so I realized that my swing had changed through the graphite, and it was a good iron for me versus what I had. But that's kind of like, the shaft does make a difference. And I never would have thought a graphite would have been something, because I always thought that's for the old fogies that can't swing anymore. But
right, absolutely. No, depending on how you load that thing on the way down, is going to be really important. And then just don't be like like your experience. Don't be like so hung up on. I wish that when we sold clubs, or when you bought them, that there was no marking on that shaft at all that told you what it was, right? That you just tested stuff out and you found the one that worked the best for you.
Right.
Because if you need a ladies flex shaft, and I tell someone, who's 45 and they think that they're a little too much for a ladies flex shaft, but that's what's working for them and that's what they really need. Doesn't happen often, but it does sometimes. They don't like it.
Right.
Like, I'm not playing that.
Yes.
But you've just seen how much better it is. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I need a steel shaft, or my buddy's going to laugh at me forever.
Yes. And even the tees too, because, I used to, of course, play the back tees when I was better and hit the ball longer. So I moved up in tees, and look, it's the enjoyment of the game, not what color tees you wear, or other tees, because people,
that's a whole other story that I've got strong opinions on too.
Yeah, my friend's like, "I'm playing the Blues today." I said,
"Good luck.
It's wet out. It's cold. You're going to be hitting long irons in, and it's not going to be a fun day. I mean, come on, come up to the white tees and have some fun.
Have some fun. Yeah, if your listeners want to have a good read, just go on YouTube, go onto Google and search for an article by the founder of Adams Golf that he wrote maybe 12 or 15 years ago, and where he talked about the distance off the tee that the pros hit and then their next club in. And then watch the US Open this week, right? How many of those holes are they hitting driver and then some type of wedge? Right. And then ask yourself, how many times in a round are you hitting driver and some type of wedge? And you'll soon find that you're playing the wrong tees.
Right. Yeah, that's so good. I mean, because it's, it's the enjoyment of the game.
Yeah.
I don't care what that part of it, but our egos get in the way, and it's like, yeah, I got to play the back tees, because that's where the pros play.
Right.
So we just don't hit the right clubs in. And
how's that working out? Is the question.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, double bogey. But hey, I played the back tees.
Yep. No.
But I love, man, this has been so insightful. Let me throw in a couple more things, because one thing, like, when it comes, our listeners always like to know, like, through your golf experience, have you met somebody like famous that if all of a sudden they called you and they go, "Oh, Karl's calling," and call you back? Is there anybody Is there anybody that you met, shook hands, or built a rapport with?
That I met that was famous.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
wish.
famous is a big time word.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, I wish that there was. No, so in my previous job as a coach, I worked for the #1 golf instruction company in the world, right? And you can YouTube and find out who they are. But
Right.
they've got a couple of their vice presidents, the vice president of instruction,
Right.
Nick Clearwater. If I needed something, I could call him up. If you want to get some really cool golf instruction, you can just YouTube Nick Clearwater
Okay.
and watch what he's got going on. Just an awesome guy. The thing about golf is that it's really good at connecting people, right? And so it's almost like nothing else that I found to connect us to each other, right? That's how you and I connected.
Yes.
That's how a lot of my friends I've found through playing golf, and they become lifelong friends.
Yes.
And so, but it does work like you experienced, like you're describing here, right? That there are people in golf that are so willing to help out, and they may have some type of worldly fame or worldly status, but my experience has been that almost overwhelmingly they just want to help.
Yes.
And it's just an awesome thing to be involved with.
Absolutely. I had a guest on, Ralph Stokes, and he played in a pro-am and met Jason Day, and so they played together.
Yeah.
And that was like 20 years ago. And to this day, they have a relationship. He walked into a restaurant down in Florida just unexpectedly, and Jason was in there, and he's like, Ralph, he's like, you give him a high five, and it's just that you're right. Golf connects people from just various backgrounds, but you have that commonality being golf, and the friendship and the relationships are incredible as a result of that.
Yeah.
So, what about golf courses? Like,
yes.
What's the nicest golf course that you play that you could share with our viewers?
All right. So, my sentimental favorite, if you're ever in the Salt Lake City area in Utah, just south of Salt Lake City, there's a wonderful municipal golf course there called Hobble Creek. You got to go play that. It's in Springville Canyon. It's beautiful.
Okay.
I played a lot of golf there in college and had a lot of good memories from that. I'd say as far as golf goes, the most, and I don't want to use this word lightly, but kind of spiritual moment that I had on a golf course,
right,
was when I was able to go over to St. Andrews and walk the old course.
Okay.
And then, so we got there on a Sunday when it's just a public park and you can go walk it with the rest of town. And then we waited up overnight and got the next morning's first tee times that they had available. And so I got to play it that following Monday. There's nothing like it.
Yes.
It's just the realization of where you at, who else has been there, that you can get to go and play that. It's really out of this world cool.
Yes.
How that works out. And so for me, just being at St. Andrews and playing 3 of those golf courses there, including the old course, that was just almost life-changing in a crazy way.
Well, you're right about that, because there's a gentleman that works for Solo Rider, and I'm part of the adaptive golf community by virtue of an unexpected physical challenge. Yeah. And so he takes veterans over there once a year, and he invites David Windsor, who heads up the adaptive golf for the country. And they go over there and they have, like you said, a spiritual moment of just being at a course that has so much history. Everybody knows about it. Get your picture taken on the bridge and just,
oh my gosh,
that magical moment. And he said, like, unbelievable how the veterans respond.
Oh, so awesome.
That kind of experience. And so every year their foundation handpicks, I think it's, they take 2 foursomes. So I think it's 8 people, or maybe it's 7 because David goes with them. But Eric and he's in Texas too. So
Okay.
he said, so I'll have to connect you up because you guys, just
Yeah,
the
that'd be awesome.
whole thing about every year going to St. Andrews just fires him up. He's going to be on the show in about a week. So
Oh, I look forward to listening to that one.
yeah. And it's cool because you said the history. Does it have some history over there?
Oh, there's nothing like it. I've played some of the TPC courses and they're cool
Yeah.
but it's just magic. It
Gotcha.
really is.
Well, I have to ask you this,
Yes.
because the day after the announcement of the Live and the PGA and DP Tour happened, I had two people on it. He was the executive director of the Georgia Golf Association, president of it. So we got a comment from him. So just everybody's got an opinion. So it's all over the board that, everybody's on different sides and
yeah,
it's just crazy. What's your thoughts on the recent development with the Live and PGA?
Oh my gosh, it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah.
I think I hope everyone, my perspective is that they're to a point where it's like, we really are trying to accomplish the same thing.
Yeah.
So can we do it together rather than apart?
Yeah.
The super cynical part of me or everybody else will say, well, it's just money talking. And there's probably some of that going on.
Sure.
Right. But I've enjoyed watching Live Golf. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I'm the same way. The only ones of my friends that haven't watched it, they're on the PGA side. I said, look, I've watched it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the team. I love the fast action. I love the actually shotgun. Never thought I would think that was good.
Me neither, but it's awesome.
Yes. I mean, it has an element and it's not competing. It's complementing.
Exactly.
You're right. The end goal is golf.
Exactly.
Introduce as many people to the sport because, just like you said at the beginning, relationships, the fun, the friendships you develop, that doesn't come on the tennis court or other sports. I mean, you can have a little bit of that, but you spend 5 hours with somebody in a cart, you're going to get to
know them. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
you see what happens when they hit a bad shot and how they react. And
yes.
You know all about them in 10 minutes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I could talk all day long, Karl, but I got